Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I thought I'd jump on and do a bit of a lunchtime live. Just rounding up some of the international news, players coming back. Obviously, we've got a potential, an injury to talk about. And also, I wanted to have a little say on the Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney debate. Just going a bit crazy, really. But yeah, just my thoughts on that. So get involved in the comments. Hit the like button as well. Jump in on at lunchtime. We want as many people as we can who can join us. So like and subscribe if you're new. We're very close to 3,600, which is amazing. So we want to hit 4K as soon as we can. Like, subscribe, and as I say, get involved in the comments. Few people in already. Lewis, good afternoon to you, mate. Deco as well. Yes, Richie boy, thank you, mate. Mark as well, good afternoon. And Jean as well, great to see you in the chat. So yeah, just wanted to, I guess, talk about Ollie Watkins, because I think just the story at the moment is just ridiculous about this kind of, Watkins versus Toney. I mean, first of all, it could be that all three of them, Kane, Watkins, and Toney go to the Euros. I'm not usually one to get too bothered about this, but the way that the commentators were going on yesterday and the pundits, and I know since the Brazil game, has just been so frustrating and just so ridiculous. I don't even know where it's come from. I mean, we know what Watkins' stats are. 16 goals in the Premier League, 22 goals in the season overall, 10 assists in the Premier League as well. He's outperforming, most strikers in the Premier League, including Ivan Toney, who got banned for betting. Let's not forget, but somehow come out of this unscathed and has faced no responsibility whatsoever. But all of a sudden, he is now the kind of replacement elect for Harry Kane, and it's just really strange how it's happened like this, because I know the media have to create a story. I know they have to create kind of a bit of drama to get people watching, to get people engaging, but it's bordering on ridiculous. It's almost as if like Ivan Toney is the answer to all of England's prayers, and Ollie Watkins has just completely failed, and is anything that he does for club just doesn't make any difference. And before I checked, I thought Aston Villa were fourth in the table, going for the Champions League in the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League. Ollie Watkins has played a massive part of that. Brentford are fighting relegation. And yes, Ivan Toney has been away from that for a large part of the season due to his own mistakes. So why he's all of a sudden got this hero status, I've got no idea. But yeah, Ollie Watkins played well, in my opinion, against Brazil, with a real lack of service. We criticise, Phil Foden hasn't been great for England, and it was evident to see. He's playing against high-level opposition though in Brazil, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't play the same, doesn't pass the ball quickly enough, in my opinion. Jude Bellingham seemed to be trying to do everything all by himself, wonderful player that he is. But Ollie Watkins was starved of service, and we saw that, and what he did, I thought he did very well. But all of a sudden then, we play against Belgium, and the story was already set, and it seemed like the pundits were just convinced that anything that Ivan Toney did was going to be super praised, and over the situation over Watkins, and they were obviously just salivating at the fact that he took a penalty and managed to score it. I mean, who'd have thought that a striker would score a penalty? It's just incredible. And then he chested a ball down, and that all of a sudden meant that he was holding the ball up better, and he had a shot that went wide that he probably should have done better with. But that made him wonderful, and that made his performance stand out. I mean, they were just talk about straw clutching. I've got no idea what they were doing. I mean, Toney didn't even last a full game, so I don't know where that leaves him. And then Watkins comes on and doesn't get much of the ball already. We've got Maddison, we've got Foden, we've got Bellingham on the pitch, all trying to do it themselves, which is fine. But he manages to keep the ball in, keeps the ball alive, heads it to Maddison, and Maddison lays it onto Bellingham to score the equaliser. A crucial part of that goal doesn't get mentioned. And then everything else after it is how Ivan Toney was a key part of that performance. He's put himself ahead in the pecking order. But I mean, I guess all Ollie Watkins can do is continue to score goals, for Villa, and which gives him that bit of, I guess, determination to do it. But for me, it was just incredible to listen to the absolute drivel that was coming out of the pundits' mouths. I could not believe it. It was almost as if you've got some sort of like League One player who's won a competition to play for England in Ollie Watkins, just completely dismissing the opposition that he's playing against. In terms of Brazil, and then all of a sudden Ivan Toney's playing against Belgium. Yes, good side, not with a pedigree and history of Brazil, and all of a sudden, because he holds the ball up a couple of times and wins a penalty, he's the second coming. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And as I say, I've criticised Ollie Watkins at times on this podcast. I'm not one to say that I haven't, but it's more to do with just the hyperbole that was around Ivan Toney and his performance that really got me like riled up. It was just absolutely embarrassing. Who have we got here? So Jack says London club bias. Yeah, absolutely. Flying without Ming says, I try to ignore the pundits now. They just say ridiculous things to get reactions and get people talking. Yeah, I've not. I sometimes listen to Talk Sport, and every in the daytime at certain points, and I've tried not to get involved in it today because I know what's going to happen. I absolutely know that they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, Ivan Toney stood out. What a performance! He's probably pushed himself ahead." I mean, he hasn't even done that well for Brentford since he's come back. I mean, if he'd done well for Brentford since he come back, they wouldn't be fighting for relegation. So I don't know where all of a sudden he's become this answer to all of England's problems. If Harry Kane doesn't play, it's absolutely ridiculous. And we're also this is an assumption that he only takes two strikers. I mean, Marcus Rashford didn't exactly cover himself with glory. He isn't playing particularly well, so we could see all three of them. But as I say, I try not to get particularly bothered about it. It doesn't really affect me either way, whether Watkins goes or not. It'd just be great for him, great for the recognition of Villa. But it's like, not only is it that London club bias really sticks out because it's almost like we're being ignored at the fact that we're fourth in the table, and Ollie Watkins has played a massive part of that. Deco says Carragher is just pitch side in human form these days. Lewis says all pundits and commentators are making themselves look thick. No service for Watkins at the weekend, and Toney just had a penalty as well. Barry, totally agree, Rich. The horse shit spouted by the bell and Rob Green last night about Toney. Honestly, it was just ridiculous. Goldbridge praised Watkins very highly, and that goal pundit said nothing. Exactly. And this is why people turn off TV pundits and go to more kind of YouTube channels, because people actually watch the game instead of trying to create a story and an agenda. And we knew the agenda was Ivan Toney starting up front against Belgium. We have to say that he's done better. And Kobe Mainu is the new messiah in central midfield. Everything that he does is going to be hyper amplified. He's so good. He's brilliant. He's amazing. And those were the two players. That was what they wanted to talk about, let alone the fact that Ezri Konsa's come in for his second cap, playing against a donkey and Lewis Dunk, and played really, really well. Didn't put a foot wrong. Had to play right back and then convert to left centre back for a bit, then right centre back, and didn't look out of place. And he's now being talked about of being the next player to play alongside John Stones after two caps. I mean, why isn't that the story? Why isn't that coming out? Because Ezri Konsa played so well in both games, and he can play right back and right centre back. But no, we have to talk about Ivan Toney. It's absolutely ridiculous. Dream Villain, Southgate will never play players to their strengths, always got the reins on. With the quality England have, Watkins has the potential to be better than Kane if given the right service. I mean, yeah, don't get me started on Harry Kane for England, but yeah, that's a different story. Konsa and Yuri were very decent last night. Yes, but they were, absolutely. Gene, same old. Toney didn't set things alight, and poor Ollie had no service on Saturday. Pundits delight in ignoring Villa and our players. Always top six glorification. Toney playing for England is like letting Greenwood play for England. They both should never play. Fair comment. They're just building up Toney and Mainu so they can destroy them later. Yeah, exactly. More pleased with Tielemans' 2 goals last night. He played brilliant, didn't he? Some of his passing was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And obviously the Villa admin's getting in trouble for kind of shouting him out for the goals, which is a little bit ridiculous. like to see Kane and Watkins playing together. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been talked about as well, and I think that would be good because obviously Kane drops deep. Watkins likes to run in behind as well, so that would be good. I really do think that would be good because I do feel like sometimes watching it, Foden is a great player. We know that. Bellingham is a fantastic player. We know that. But I did feel that they got in each other's way a little bit and then tried to overplay it a bit, which could come into problems, in the latter stage of the tournament. Villa for life. If Tony didn't score the penalty, they would have been criticising him. He was average. Other than that, exactly. Cheers, mate. See you soon. Just catch up later. So yeah, I guess that's my point on the whole situation. It's gonna rage on. It looks like it'll be the big talking point over the course of the next sort of latter part of the season. But all Ollie can do is keep scoring goals, make himself undroppable, and kind of give Southgate that decision to make. I personally think I still think he'll probably take all three. I think it's probably a bit of a storm in a teacup. I think there's more players that will probably get injured or take the decision out of his hands. There's obviously debate over Rashford. Grealish is obviously fighting injury. Maddison is in and out with injury as well. So, I don't think I think there'll be a time when someone will get injured and it won't make a difference, and he'll get picked anyway. Yes, guys, smash the like button as well. Brilliant stuff. Thank you. So, just in terms of the other international players, I don't think it was great for John McGinn at Scotland. Obviously, they had two defeats, 4-0 to the Netherlands and then 1-0 to Northern Ireland, which was a bit of an embarrassment, I guess, for them. I don't think Emery played last night in goal for Argentina in their win. Good for Douglas Luiz getting, 2 caps for Brazil. Came on last night and did really well by all accounts. And then, obviously played well against England for his little cameo. So that was really good. Morgan Rogers starred for England under 21s, had a great win against Luxembourg yesterday, and he scored 2 goals, which was fantastic for him. Tim Bonham had scored an absolute screamer for England under 20s, so really good for him. Obviously, Robin Olsen doing well for Sweden. But I guess from our perspective, obviously we talked about Yuri Tielemans doing really well last night as well. And I think hopefully, the vast majority of players are coming back unscathed, but we haven't escaped the slight injury curse that has plagued Villa all season. Obviously, Matty Cash for Poland, who did well against Wales, getting through on penalties. He obviously couldn't play in that game because in the previous game he got an injury, came on and only lasted 10 minutes before pulling a hamstring. Is that a lack of warming up? I don't know. That seems like a bit of a strange one. Or was he carrying it before the game? But looks like he could be out for up to 3 weeks now with injury. So he's obviously going to miss the Wolves game. He's also going to miss the Man City game, the Brentford game, and looking like the Lille home game. So 4 huge games that he's potentially going to miss out on. Now, it could be that it's not quite as serious and he's maybe out for a couple of weeks, but usually the hamstrings are, 3 weeks, and, it just depends when he can get running on it again. But it's a big blow because we wanted to have, I guess, Konsa and Torres as the central defensive pairing with Longley to back it up. Longley didn't look as comfortable the other day in terms of playing as that right-sided centre back, but obviously, Ezri Konsa looks like he's going to have to go back in at right back, and hopefully Diego Carlos's injury isn't too serious, and hopefully he's been able to train and should be fighting fit. But yeah, it's a big blow because Cash was just really starting to play well, and we know how much better Leon Bailey is when he's playing with Cash behind him, and that's a bit of a blow. So yeah, or maybe just Kane Kessler-Hayden come in. I know I've heard Emery has been working intensively with Kessler-Hayden to get him to understand the role and what he needs to be doing. So maybe we see him. But to be fair, I think probably the Man City game, Cash probably wouldn't have played anyway. I think he would have gone with Konsa there as it was. And there's a debate whether he would have played against Wolves, depending on kind of how Emery wanted to approach it. So there's probably games that there would have been a debate whether it had started anyway, but obviously it's good to have those options. So we wish Matty Cash all the best with that. Hopefully he's back as soon as possible because we've had John McGinn as well, and Kamara. So we've got players coming back, and we've had players coming back, but we seem to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back every time. And I think McGinn's going to be out against Wolves, and he's going to be out against Man City. He'll be back against Brentford. But these are 2 huge games, and Wolves on Saturday is massive because we got some momentum with going through against Ajax, and then the point against West Ham. We got a bit of momentum there, but we need to continue that to kind of keep Spurs and Man United off our back. So yeah, it's a really, really important one. Michelle, hello, Rich. Gutted I missed the start of this. Don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry. Poor Cashy says, Deco, we need him so Conser and Power can play centre back. Maybe Kessler Hayden gets a look in. Yeah, exactly. We'll wait and see on that. But yeah, I think everyone should be back fighting fit. I don't think there's anyone else who came through with an injury, and obviously Tielemans had a great performance yesterday but came off with 15-20 minutes to go, which is good. Louise came on for a couple of cameo appearances, so they should be fine, hopefully coming back into training today and tomorrow. The players that have been back at Bodymore Heath this week, I don't think there's any other injuries being reported, so we should have, other than Cash and obviously McGinn, who's suspended, we should have a full complement back. It's just looking at that defensive line. And then does Luca Dean obviously come back in for Moreno? Because I thought Luca Dean was excellent when he came on Sunday, the other Sunday against West Ham. So could we see a Luca Dean, Pau Torres, Diego Carlos, Ezri Konsa backline, which is pretty strong, to be honest, pretty strong. So yeah, we'll wait and see. A few little transfer rumours. Obviously, there's been talk about the right back position, and Denzel Dumfries's name has been bandied around again. Apparently, we're interested in him, but numerous other clubs are interested in him as well. And this Mario Hermoso deal looks like we're the first ones to kind of break the seal in terms of getting a contract offer out to him. So that's going to be interesting. But there are a number of other clubs interested in him, and I think his club have offered him a new deal as well. But it doesn't seem like it's he wants to sign it. So we'll wait and see on that one. They've offered him. Atletico have offered him a contract until 2028. So I guess the ball is in his court in terms of what he wants to do, because I think it's Juventus and maybe 1 or 2 other top clubs are interested in him. And I honestly think a number of players will be looking at where Villa finish in the league. If we finish in that top 4, top 5 and get Champions League football, I think where we'll be shopping will be much higher kind of value and the considerations of clubs will be much better than what we would get if we were Europa League, which is the fact, really. And I've also heard, the Champions League revenue is 15% higher next season with regards to bringing in for clubs. So now we're signing these, obviously it's a little bit of a debate in terms of the sponsorship deal that we've signed with Betano, but it's 20 million a season, which is huge compared to what we've had before. We've got Adidas as the kit makers. We've also got, potential of Champions League football. So the money now that we'll generate in terms of revenue will be that much higher. So yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. We've also asked around a 20-year-old midfielder from Barcelona, Fermin Lopez. He has a release clause though of 400 million euros. So I don't know where that stands with us. But I guess the person that is attracting these players is obviously where Villa are in the league. But if you look at the manager and what he's done with the club, it's obviously going to attract headlines. And again, reported today, apparently Unai Emery is one of the candidates that Bayern Munich are considering as to be their next head coach. Now, I don't think that happens. I think what we've built around Unai Emery is unique in terms of us putting money into his local club and his son over here and everything like that we built around him, the structure that is built around him, the job security. Obviously, the job security at a club like Bayern Munich isn't tremendous. We're looking at Thomas Tuchel already being replaced and what have you. So it's but it's Bayern Munich. It's a club with a realistic chance of winning the Champions League trophy. So who knows what might happen in the pre-season. That is definitely one to watch with regards to Unai and what he thinks. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a new extended contract for Unai Emery in the summer, because yeah, I think we've got to get him tied down. I'll leave it there, I think, but just a bit of a teaser. Looks like Wolves are missing Beto. Acuna is 50-50, and Hwang and Dawson are out for our game. We've got to address our poor home record against them, and now is as good as time as any. And I think Neto is out as well. So obviously they've got injuries, they've got problems, but we know the system that they play is very effective, and they've got a great record against Villa. But we'll come to that tomorrow. We'll do our match preview on that tomorrow. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for all that have joined in. Dunk, I know you're late, mate. Don't worry about it, mate. It's not a problem. Catch up in a sec. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button, guys, and hit that subscriber button. We are about 30, just over 30 away from 3,600, which is just tremendous. Thank you for all your support. Yeah, keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep helping us grow. As I say, we'll be back tomorrow night for our match preview show. Football is back this weekend. Big match against Wolves. I'll be there as well. So if anyone's there, wants to say hello, come and say hello. I'll be in the whole end and around and about before the game. So do come and say hello. Have a great day, everyone. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.